What's up guys, Jacob here coming at you with another Bloodborne guide. This time we're going to be breaking down just what Chalice Dungeons are and how to utilize them as efficiently as possible. There seems to be a lot of confusion regarding Chalice Dungeons. This is mostly due to FromSoft being so tight-lipped about their game's features, as usual. According to the wiki, Chalice Dungeons in Bloodborne are vast, underground ruins deep beneath the city of Yharnam, procedurally generated to create a new, harrowing experience every time you enter. Chalice Dungeons offer a chance to experience Bloodborne's sense of exploration, danger, and reward you in all new ways. Hunters can access these constantly changing and multi-level dungeons by performing the Chalice Ritual. Although the dungeon's layout changes with each ritual performed, each layout is saved and can even be uploaded and shared with friends or the world. In order to create a Chalice Dungeon, a Chalice Ritual must be performed. The chalice used in the ritual determines what type of Chalice Dungeon you will create. One thing I see a lot of people asking when they conduct their first Chalice Ritual in the Hunter's Dream is, why does my chalice look like everyone else's? I thought they were procedurally generated. That's because only root chalices are procedurally generated. The rest are static and are the same every time. A couple other things to note about Chalice Dungeons is that they do not scale with New Game Plus, so your progress carries over across multiple playthroughs. And the depth of the dungeon represents its difficulty. Chalice Dungeons will either have 3 or 4 layers and 3 or 4 bosses respectively. Chalice Dungeons spawn multiple bosses that the player must defeat in order to clear the dungeon. There are Chime Maidens within each Chalice Dungeon that are troublesome if you do not kill them, as they will continually summon more monsters to attack you. The monsters can be identified by the red tint to them, and they will be expunged after killing the maiden. This is just like in the Unseen Village in the actual main game. Levers within the dungeon must be pulled in order to access the lower levels of the dungeon. Basically what happens when you pull a lever, it unlocks the boss room. Once you defeat the boss, you then gain access to the next floor. There are lamps within the dungeon that act as checkpoints so the player can port back to where they were. From my experience, the lamps are usually at the beginning and end of each floor, but there's none in between. The dungeon has a very varied architecture, and it's not only vast, but extensively vertical. Strangers are not welcome here, so the hallways are ridden with a variety of traps, like giant guillotine blades caked in blood of hunters past, or fire-spitting statues, very akin to Sen's Fortress from Dark Souls. While Chalice Dungeons vary in enemies and architecture, they always follow a similar design layout. Each dungeon floor will feature 4 areas: the pre-area, the main area, boss room hallway, and the post area. Yellow lanterns usually signify the end of an area and the start of another. The pre-area, when you first start a Chalice Dungeon floor, has a purple lamp for returning to the Hunter's Dream. The area after the purple lamp and right before the yellow lantern is the pre-area. This area sometimes has 1 or 2 bonus rooms. There is a chance for a sarcophagus or treasure room, which is where you will find unique loot or chalice materials. The main area is located after the first set of yellow lanterns. This is a location that sometimes has treasure, and always has a switch to unlock the boss room. The gate starts off with purple lanterns, which means the boss room is locked until the switch is activated. Once the switch is activated, the lanterns of the gate turn blue. This means the gate is now unlocked. The area after the blue lanterns and before the yellow lanterns is the hallway to the boss room. And the hallway to the boss room is just that, a passage ending with the boss room. This hallway can sometimes contain a bonus room. The post area is very similar to the pre-area, with chance of bonus rooms. The post area is the passageway located after the boss room's lamp and ending with an elevator. Note, if you are on the very last floor of a dungeon, there will not be a post area. The floor will simply end with the boss room. The post area sometimes contain bonus rooms. So what are bonus rooms? Bonus rooms are areas located in a Chalice Dungeon floor either before or after the main area. The chance for a bonus room appearing is random for some dungeons. These bonus rooms often have rare ingredients for Chalice Rituals contained in normal chests. Sometimes uncanny or lost weapons are found located in sarcophagus-shaped chests. The type of chest you might find is just as random as the bonus room appearing. Additional items can be added to some chalice rituals, increasing the difficulty of the dungeon, but upping the drop rate of blood gems inside. Fetid offerings give a damage buff to the enemies inside. Rotted offering adds enemies to the dungeon and increases the likelihood that there will be traps. Curse reduces your HP by half and makes all blood gems that drop curse. And Sinister makes it so you can be invaded. That's right, you cannot be invaded in just any chalice dungeon, only specific ones. Each chalice type drops a certain type of blood gem. Thumeru chalices drop radial blood gems, Lauren chalices drop waning blood gems, and Iz chalices drop triangular blood gems. If an enemy is killed with a visceral attack, there is a chance that a blood-sucking beast will be summoned. When the player leaves the room and returns, this enemy may be found lapping up the blood. So you say you want to play some multiplayer, you want to get in on this chalice fun with a friend. Well, in order to co-op a chalice dungeon, you must have created the chalice of that dungeon yourself at least once. You cannot join chalice dungeons that are using chalices you have not yet acquired and made. You can co-op with a friend by giving them your chalice glyph, or by them giving you theirs and entering it in at a ritual altar in the Hunter's Dream. All chalice dungeons can be co-op. In order for PvP in a chalice dungeon, the player must have created or joined a dungeon that was made using a root chalice or a sinister chalice. There is one sinister chalice of each type, the Thumeru, the Hintertome, the Lauren, and the Iz. You can set a chalice dungeon to be shared and closed, and only people with the glyph will be able to PvP or co-op. However, they will need to manually move to the location of the host, requiring them to clear the dungeon on their own game. It is important to remember that only the host's progress is saved, so in order to clear the entire dungeon, you will have to take turns hosting and be summoned. Summoned players vanish after each boss is defeated. This really sucks, especially since the netcode seems to be especially wonky in the chalice dungeons. I don't know about you guys, but I know I've had experiences with friends where we could literally see each other's ghosts but could not be summoned to each other's game. Once you have defeated the last boss of the lower Hintertome chalice, you will receive the short ritual root chalice, which can be used at the makeshift altar in the Hunter's Dream. This will allow you to quick search for chalice dungeons to join as the guest, host, or invader. You can use the short ritual root chalice co-op search feature with any password to be summoned in their dungeon at any layer they are in. Whatever chalice they are in gets placed at the makeshift altar, granting you a free dungeon to go through from the start if you wish. You can remove the chalice that is placed in the makeshift altar and begin your co-op search anew for any other people who you may want to help. In addition to co-oping through the short ritual root chalice, this method has a chance of placing you in a completely random room of the dungeon. In order for this to work, the chalice dungeon must be shared and open, not closed. Well, that's about it for now, guys. If you like this vid, please leave a like and let me know down in the comments below. If enough people like this sort of thing, I'll make more vids detailing each individual chalice and the items contained therein, and especially how to farm items for ritual chalices. So you gotta let me know. Thanks again, guys.